Welcome to Dateline Schools, a presentation of the St. Clair County Regional Educational Service Agency with your host, Terry Harrington.
Welcome to Dateline Schools. It's been a little more than a year since an alternative energies program was started here at the St. Clair County Technical Education Center. And if you've been down to the Maritime Center in Port Huron, you can see some results of the program with the wind turbine and also a solar array panel. So in this edition of Dateline Schools, we're going to get an update on the Energy Technologies and Services program. And joining me on the program will be Pat Yanik, the Director of Tech, as well as the program instructor, Dave Lawrence. But right now, let's tune in to this edition of Education Update.
Thank you, Terry. Woodland students with mobility issues got a chance to participate in organized games when they took part in the Motor Activities Training Program last month. The program was started by Special Olympics. The emphasis is on training rather than competition, and participants are coached in activities involving motor skills. Woodland hosted the program last month, and its students were joined by their peers from 2 special education schools in Macomb County. They enjoyed games including pin the tail on the turkey, squash bowling, and toy turkey races. SCCRESA employees are asked annually to make donations to the United Way of St. Clair County, and this year even more of them stepped up to do so. 122 employees contributed to the 2010-2011 campaign, up from 105 employees last year. The total pledge to the organization was over $14,000. The money pledged will be used throughout 2011 to provide services such as counseling, addressing homelessness, assisting with medical care, and providing youth with programs and recreational activities. SCCRESA has been giving to the United Way for more than 25 years. College-going students and their parents can sign up for ACT test prep workshops beginning next month. The workshops are sponsored by the Know How to Go Network and will be offered 3 days at both St. Clair County Community College and Yale High School. Students can study up to 3 of 4 subjects, including reading, science, math, and English. By improving their scores on the ACT, students increase the likelihood of receiving scholarships and being accepted to more colleges. More information can be found on the Know How to Go webpage of the SCCRESA website. And speaking of Know How to Go, the initiative is getting some advertising help from the digital media technology students at Tech. Students are producing a video that will explain the Know How to Go program and include testimonials from those involved. DMT students have already videotaped interviews with the top recruiter for the University of Michigan and several educators from Landmark Academy. They will also interview current college students, parents, high school counselors, principals, teachers, and college admission counselors. The video will be ready after the new year. Finally, winter break is almost upon us. All county school districts are on the same schedule for break this year, which begins on December 20th and ends when students return to class on Monday, January 3rd. On behalf of the SCCRESA and Education Update, this is Lisa Steinborn wishing you a happy holiday season. Terry Harrington and Dateline Schools will return in a moment.
Welcome to St. Clair County, a great place to live, work, and visit. Our firefighters, law enforcement officers, and paramedics are highly trained and pride themselves in responding to assist you in a matter of minutes. However, in a large-scale event, emergency responders may not be able to assist everyone in the first few minutes, hours, or even days. Would you be ready if your power was out for several days? A storm confined you to your home for an extended period of time, if authorities requested you evacuate immediately. The Be Ready for 72 Hours program allows you to take charge before an emergency to assure your family and neighbors remain safe. Simple steps like having a plan and emergency supply kit can make the difference between being in harm's way or being safe and secure. Don't wait until it's too late to prepare. Be ready now, St. Clair County.
Welcome back to Dateline Schools. On this segment of the program, we're going to learn about a new alternative energy program that's offered to students here at the St. Clair County Technical Education Center. To tell us all about it, my guests are the Director of Tech, Pat Yanik, as well as the program's instructor, Dave Lawrence. And gentlemen, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Dave, it's been a year since you started this new Energy Services Technologies program. How has it progressed, and if you had to tweak with the curriculum now that you're in your second year?
We've made quite a few changes with it, adding a lot of the renewable and alternative energy program stuff, alternative fuels, solar, wind, changes that weren't in the curriculum before.
Had to be kind of fun for you to develop a new program, and now you get to see how it looks and just make those adjustments.
It's been a lot of learning on my spot, just trying to keep ahead of the students and get them good, usable information, and just changing the program from what used to be to what it can be now.
What kind of skills are the students learning in the program now?
We still focus on basic fundamentals of electronics and digital concepts, but we're seeing how they're applied to more real-world applications or usable in the alternative fields, renewables, stuff like that.
And it really sounds like this program really helped meet Tech's vision of giving those kids those skills to get employment right out of high school.
Well, we're trying. We've been working with a lot of the industry around the area for the basic skills, and then some state organizations looking at where the fields are leading to. Are
you seeing a lot of growth in this area for students?
It's an area that has a lot of potential. Normally solar and wind is thought of down south, but we're seeing that we're just as capable of that here in Michigan.
Right. Pat, what kind of employment opportunities are you finding for the students in this new program?
Well, it's kind of difficult to say because the Department of Labor, they don't necessarily break the occupations out specifically renewable energy, but they're different technician level jobs. But as a rule, they're looking at 7 to 13% growth, about 40,000 jobs between, let's see, it's 2008 to 2018, so over the next 8 years as far as we're concerned. So anytime we've got an occupational area where we've got 10 to 15% growth in Michigan, we're interested in that. We want to make sure that we're positioning students to take advantage of those opportunities.
And it has to be kind of unique because it's one of those jobs or employment areas where a lot of the jobs probably haven't even been invented yet, is there?
That's exactly right. You know, there's a lot happening in the thumb, if people aren't familiar with that, with renewable energy, wind turbines. There's solar panels are being installed, and as these things take place, they're going to need technicians to be able to maintain them.
Okay, great. What kind of salary range are they projecting for students in this area too?
Entry level would be about $17 an hour. So we're looking at about $35,000 per year for a technician that would work on renewable energy, wind, and solar.
Has the state developed any kind of a certification program for students in this program? You know, like we see in the automotive or in cosmetology or health careers or some of the other areas?
What we're looking at is the NABCEP, which is the National Alternative Energies Participation, the North American Board of Certified Practitioners. And they're a group that deals mainly with solar photovoltaic systems, solar energy, solar thermal, and we're trying to line up with some of their certifications so they can go out to a national. But with the industry being so young, the state really has not come out with a state certification yet. A lot of times it just falls under electricians for certification, but there's no specified certification for these systems yet.
Are you getting a lot of input for your curriculum, like say from DTE and some of the other energy providers here in Michigan?
We've been working with some of the national or Michigan renewable programs, some local installers on what they need in the field. We haven't really been working with DTE because they're not sure what they're doing with their programs yet.
How does Michigan really stack up to other places around the country, even around the world really for that matter, in terms of renewable energies and getting these type of programs started?
Manufacturing wise, we're very well set for being able to make the materials. We've got several solar panel manufacturers right in Michigan, and their headquarters are here in Michigan. We tend to be a little bit farther behind as far as actually using it, though.
Oh, I guess that kind of bodes well for the students to get in and kind of get that word out, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Pat, I know this is a new program, and a lot of times in education we have a tendency to borrow ideas and do that rather than reinvent the wheel. Is that the case with this, or are you guys really leading the way here in the state of Michigan with this program?
Well, we are participating in a grant that was through the Public Service Commission, Michigan Public Service Commission, that involved 15 other counties in the state of Michigan. We represent St. Clair County, one of 15, where the Career Technical Education is putting up a wind, solar panel. There are other forms of alternative energy involved, but the idea was in the state of Michigan to begin to build some capacity at the high school level by introducing students to these new technologies and giving them the opportunity to start a career in renewable energies in the state of Michigan.
That's great. Now, how many students are in the program right now?
We're right around 20 students for our second year.
And is that about what you need to keep the program growing at this point?
Well, obviously we'd like more than that, but it'll grow. We feel confident of that.
What kind of student are you finding that would excel in this program?
The ones that really seem to really like it are those that have a conscious concern about the environment. They kind of take this a little bit more personal. We do a lot of hands-on activities, so students that like to get out and participate have really done very well with this.
Pat, I know one of the things you do here is looking to not only for opportunities for students to get into employment, but also to take it on to the next level, higher degree of education. You finding that's going to be suitable with this too, this program?
Sure. St. Clair County Community College has an alternative energy program at the college. Ferris State University has a 2- and 4-year program. So yes, the students will have the opportunity to move from a technician's position up through engineering, could even move into research and development, that kind of thing. So all within the state of Michigan.
Now, do your students need to come with some kind of a skill set to be successful in this program, or is that something you can develop within the student?
A lot of stuff we can develop along the way. Most of our stuff is basic science, basic math concepts, and we've evolved up how they use those skills throughout. So generally anything basic algebra up is fine. We're not doing any calculus, so advanced math is not a requirement for the program. But just having an understanding or just really the willingness to want to learn and apply some of the stuff they've learned at their other schools, see how they can put it into use in the real world.
And I know you've spent a lot of time over the last few years trying to develop how you can give the students math and science credit as long as the career and technical education credit. What about for this program? No, I'm sure it's a little early yet, but are you looking toward that too?
Dave's already been working with our consultant, Jim Light, and they've met with the county superintendents, county curriculum coordinators, and have approved math and science credit for energy technology so that students in the program actually math, science, and an applied art credit.
Well, what a great opportunity for your kids.
Yeah.
That's great. You know, we're talking about alternative energy, and obviously that gets into recycling and some of those kind of things. Has the development of this program created any changes for operations here at Tech and at RESA campus as well?
It has. Part of this whole initiative, it raised our level of concern, our level of influence at RESA, and what we did last year was we had an energy audit of the campus, and they gave us some findings of some things that we could do to become to conserve energy and to recycle, reuse some of the things that we do here at RESA that raised our awareness. A lot of things happening at Woodland. They're doing some great things there to help us here on the campus recycle and reuse the resources that we have here at RESA.
What a great learning opportunity for your students then.
It is.
Great. Now, you also mentioned the PSC grant that you've had. Do you have any other local partners that you're working with on this project?
We are working with the Atchison people on the Riverfront project. They've given us the opportunity to put a wind and solar panel on the Vantage Point property, and that was installed this last fall.
And of course, obviously that's something that's working, so that's something your students are keeping an eye on and collecting data from?
Yes, we are. With what we've been able to collect is we've can look at similar systems elsewhere in the country with the online monitoring systems and find that for ourselves we can get the same performance as ones that are maybe in Hawaii or in Arizona, places that you typically would think of sunny and stuff like that, where we can compete just as well with our system here in Michigan.
Wow, how exciting data that is.
At the present moment, but it's looking at, we're really competitive as Michigan as being a site for taking advantage of solar and wind. Yeah. So we're still collecting data, and we'll be looking at that over the course of the next year, and we can, nice thing is we can compare that to other places and see how we fare out. What
a nice surprise in just finding that initial data, isn't it?
It is, it's really nice.
Great. Well, we need to take a break. When we come back, we're going to learn more about the wind turbine and the solar array panels that have been installed down at the Maritime Center, so don't go away.
Hi, my name is Joe Staley. I'm a graduate of Central Michigan University and currently an offensive lineman for the San Francisco 49ers. Also, I love reading. My mother is a school librarian here in Michigan, and research indicates that students in schools with certified school librarians have higher test scores. When I attended college, I understood the importance of knowing how to research using the internet as well as the library, and school librarians taught me that. Does your student's school have a certified school librarian? If not, ask why.
Welcome back to Dateline Schools. On this program, we're discussing the new Energy Technologies and Services program here at the St. Clair County Technical Education Center. And filling us in on all the information, my guests are Program Instructor Dave Lawrence, as well as Tech Director Pat Yanik. And Pat, just before we took our break, you mentioned about a new wind turbine and solar array panel that has been constructed down at the Atchison Maritime Center. Why did you do that, and why that location?
Well, we had two reasons we were looking at the Vantage Point property, Terry. One was because of its exposure to public traffic. There's a lot of people that they go down to the river to see the boats, and we thought it'd be a great opportunity to educate the community on renewable energy and energy conservation at that location. The other is just the amount of wind that's down there. We wanted to be able to study how much wind is on the river, up and down the St. Clair River corridor and along Lake Michigan, or Lake Huron.
Great. And what kind of data is being collected, Dave, and what about that energy that's being produced there? What's happening with that?
Well, we collect data through the internet. We can share it through anywhere in the world. We can access it and compare it to other regions that have similar sites, so we can kind of see that we're competitive or not competitive to other places. The energy that's produced is sent back out to the grid, and any surplus that wouldn't be used by the Maritime Center would actually come back as a credit for energy. But for the most part, the amount of energy used at those buildings absorbs what we're creating.
Give us an idea, if you can, kind of give us a perspective, how much energy is actually being produced by that wind turbine and the solar array panel?
On most good days with some decent sunshine and a little bit of wind, we'd have more than enough to power an average household here in the area.
Wow, that's quite a bit more than I anticipated.
It is.
Great. Pat, pretty involved project to get those two items built and functioning down there at Atchison?
Just like anything, Terry, a lot more than what we thought. It was our first one, and a lot of credit needs to be given to Charlie Andrews here at SCCRESA. He was the project coordinator and put in all the work into organizing the engineering and the contractors and the bidding process and state approval and all that goes into a project like that.
I know you produced a video just to help us to understand what all went involved. So let's take a look right now at a new video produced for St. Clair County Tech as it presents alternative energies for the 21st century.
Students from across St. Clair County now have the opportunity to get hands-on, real-world experience in the science around the growing field of alternative energy. Their laboratory is a 90-foot, 10-kilowatt wind turbine and a 4-kilowatt solar array panel system constructed in 2010 near the Great Lakes Maritime Center at Port Huron's Vantage Point. The turbine and solar array panel systems allow St. Clair County students and students from anywhere in the world to take readings such as the amount of electricity being generated, as well as current wind speed and direction. Other weather-related information is also available. This data is accessible on the internet and will be used as part of the Energy Technologies and Services program at St. Clair County Technical Education Center and will be available to science classes at all St. Clair County schools. The turbine will also provide some power to the Waterworks building located on the Atchison Ventures property. The project was funded by the St. Clair County Regional Educational Service Agency and through a grant from Energy Works Michigan. The land was donated by Atchison Ventures.
We'll be able to collect the data and compare that to other sites in the area, like our weather data that we have here and weather data that we get from Vantage Point, and see directly with the wind speeds how much energy we can actually produce with that given amount of wind, and as a reference from one location to another as far as being able to generate power.
Well, we hope it keeps the students on the cutting edge of what's going on. And, if to the extent that there are going to be new jobs, alternative energy is an area that's going to grow in terms of employment. We want our students to have opportunities.
Students anywhere in the world would be able to go to our website. They'll be able to click on the tech data, or they'll be able to click on the Vantage Point data, and they'll be able to compare live data at the exact same time of day to be able to say that there's more wind being produced down at the river or more solar energy out here at RESA, or vice versa.
French Associates and Architects was one of the partners who helped to write the grant that allowed the construction to begin.
French Associates' role on the project is to operate as the architect and engineers for the project. So we helped look at the sites which were appropriate for this installation, look at the materials, the manufacturers of the equipment, and then help take it through the process, the specifications and drawings, right through to the bidding process, and now we will act as an agent to RESA to make sure it gets installed per plans and specs.
Construction began with the Toledo Caissons Company drilling a 23-foot hole about 5 feet in diameter at the site. Workers lowered a cement form into the hole and filled it with water to prevent it from caving in. A re-rod case was then lowered into the hole, followed by a sleeve that concrete was poured into. 19 yards of concrete was poured into the hole. Once the concrete began to set, the sleeve was removed. A large cylinder was pounded around the structure to help the concrete settle. Additional concrete was poured into the hole and the temporary casing removed. Before the concrete dried, a base plate template for the turbine was installed on the concrete. The next step was to dig a trench for the conduit to house the electrical components for the wind turbine. On site was a soil engineer from G2 Consulting Group. His job was to ensure the soil could support the structure and that the concrete was mixed properly. He also did a variety of tests to ensure the structure's stability. A few days after the concrete cured, a crane was brought in to assist with the installation of the turbine. The first task was to install the steps that allow workers to climb the pole for servicing. The crew then put the first piece of the turbine tower in place. It fit perfectly on the bolts. The second section of the pole contained the wiring for the turbine, which took considerable time to install. This section also required special handling so that the wiring was not damaged when this part was put in place. The crew stood it on 2 blocks with a gap between them to allow room for the wiring. When the crew picked up the second section and placed it on top of the first, a worker climbed up to guide the connection and put the wires into the bottom section of the pole. Now it was time to assemble the turbine. Workers put a special harness on the turbine to allow the crane to lift it. The harness turbine was raised about 5 feet off the ground, allowing workers to install the blades. Guidelines are attached to the turbine, and a worker on the pole guided the turbine in place and secured it with bolts. Next to the turbine, SCCRESA installed a solar array system, a series of solar panels, The panels have interconnected solar cells, also known as photovoltaic cells, that generate electricity. As the sun moves, the array rotates and tilts to follow the sunshine. Students will also be able to read and analyze data from the solar array panels. Renewable alternative energy sources will be an increasingly important part of the future for St. Clair County, the state of Michigan, and the nation. The wind turbine and solar array panels in downtown Port Huron will be a valuable learning tool for all St. Clair County students and the general public as well.
Well, it really looks like that was quite a project that went on down at the Maritime Center this summer to get that created. Can the public just go right up there? Obviously, you can't touch the top of the 90-foot tower where the wind turbine is turning, but what about the solar array panel, Pat?
They can go up to the solar array panel, and because it does track the sun, if they're out there during the daytime they stand underneath it and watch it closely, they can actually see it move because it does follow the sun throughout the day.
Okay, great. And is this the only one in the county, or are we looking to build a couple of other similar type sites to collect even more data?
Presently, we're working on some projects right here on the campus of St. Clair TEC that are going to incorporate a lot of the same things with the wind turbines, the solar panels, and we'll be putting all their data up for the public to view. Not only they can see what we're doing here, but they'll be able to see the Maritime Center by going to the TEC website and clicking on the orange P for the power dash, and that brings up all the monitoring systems for what's going on at that location, and we're still developing what's going to be doing for here at TEC here.
So not only a great opportunity for students, but what a unique opportunity for our community too.
Yes.
Great. Well, guys, we really thank you for joining us on Dateline Schools and telling us about the Energy Technologies and Services program. And get down to the river and take a look at this turbine and also see the solar array panel. Some really unique things happening here in St. Clair County. Gentlemen, again, thank you for being on the program. We want to thank you for joining us as well. See you again next time on Dateline Schools.